Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Scrap Happy Daffy, released in 1943. It's the 410th in the series, and it's directed by Frank Tashlin. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 5 DVD set, on the Platinum Collection Volume 3 Blu-ray set, but for consistency's sake, to keep it in line with all the other reviews I've done for the channel, what happens here is that Daffy is the warden of a scrap metal yard, and as it turns out, this huge scrap metal drive is turning the tides of the war against the Axis powers. So Hitler wants that scrap metal pile destroyed, and what do they send? A goat. So it's pretty much Daffy versus a goat, so there you are. What you're going to see first of all are the highlights of the audio commentary I did with my good friend and Tashlin holic Austin Kelly. The full thing's still up on the channel, but I'm putting it here for consistency's sake and to make it a more well-rounded review. And then you hear some new thoughts from me. So without further ado, let's get into it. And with me today is my good friend Austin Kelly. Say hi.
I'm here again. I will hopefully be here for at least the majority of the Tashlin cartoons. Lovely cartoon, scripted 8 months before its summer 1943 release. It was scripted in December of 1942. God, look at that pan. This is great. It is really one of Tashlin's finest cartoons. It really shows off his cinematic influences and the love for the cinema and all the comedies and films that were coming out around this time.
Yeah, and in the background of that garbage pile, that was really UPA in a sense, because of how it was just flat, but just the outline suggesting the garbage. It was really interesting.
Oh god, look at that. This is lovely Art Davis animation. Davis, who did some lovely stuff in the 40s Tashlin cartoons that I highly suggest you check out on your own time.
And speaking of lovely stuff, good lady. Of course, it's not a Tashlin short without a beautiful lady somewhere, or a pair of legs. You know, that just seems to be all of them, aren't they?
Yeah.
But what a performance by Mel, though. I mean, the song's great, but Mel's delivery just really, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. In terms of trivia, before we saw the three Axis powers, now by this point, Mussolini, as I understand it, was out of the picture somewhat. And this is also the last black and white Daffy. So an end of an era.
Wow. That's really something. He's come a long way. He's a completely different character now. I mean, Norm McCabe left that influence, I think, on Tashlin. And everybody, people usually say McCabe did those first few Daffy cartoons where he's got a real soul, and he's not just this crazy wisecracking duck anymore. And Daffy's really a full character here. He's no longer just that wisecracking duck, and he would continue to have this great character, this great full character, set him apart from everybody else for the rest of his theatrical career.
How many different shots did Frank Tashlin have to do in this whole build-up? I mean, I should have actually counted them, but there were so many of them. Any other director would not go that far, I would think. But no, Tashlin goes the extra mile and does this huge build-up. And what is it? A goat, of course. And when I first saw this cartoon back when the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 5 was released, it just blew my mind. I'm thinking, you start off with Hitler, of course, and by the end of it, a goat. One of the best jokes I've ever seen. It's just absolutely amazing.
And the best part is, if you look closely, they're not blink and you'll miss it cartoons per se, but if you do look away, you're probably going to miss some really tiny, subtle gag or some really tiny thing. It's just, these are such well-crafted films. Going back to what you said about all those shots, I mean, no one else would do that but Tashlin. And no one would go that extra mile, especially when it comes to the shots and the angles and looking at the cartoon from the filmmaking point of view. These are really wonderful things to watch.
You can have the best directing ever, but if the story's no good and the gags are no good, then I guess it doesn't really matter. And everything just comes together so nicely here. The story's so absurd. I mean, goat aside, Hitler somehow reads this newspaper where it's about Daffy having this big metal stockpile helping the Allies, and now he's going to attack this one metal scrap heap. Like, it's just so ridiculous.
Look at this. He's just like out of commercial. It's wonderful. I want to talk a minute about R.D. Davis, because Davis was really a key part. Played a key part in making these 40s Tashlin cartoons really wonderful. You know, whenever you see this scene where Daffy's just all over the screen and everything, you know, right up in someone's face. You know, in Stupid Cupid, he's all over Elmer. That's Art Davis. Davis was with Tashlin at the Screen Gems studio, and Tashlin had to lay off a lot of people. It wasn't really anything personal when he let Davis go, but it's just kind of funny how they both ended up at the exact same studio in the exact same unit, like months after one just got fired by the other. It's just irony at its finest.
I have noticed with the Tashlins so far that whenever a character's running straight forward at speed, the back of the character is like this nice straight line. It's just amazing just how Tashlin's gone from these round, pudgy characters in the 30s to this really streamlined, like literal ruler straight, angular characters. It's just how he went from one to another. It's just weird, but it's a lot of patriotism right here, and this is patriotism done right, because I know if you look at something like Tokyo Jokyo, the commentary that a lot of people seem to have hated, you know, it was just attack, whereas this one, it's patriotism made fun, I would think, and that's the big difference between the two. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair way of looking at it. And here you also don't have any stereotypes, and no other country is being attacked in particular. But, you know, you've still got the thing going on, so I don't know if you would want to show this today. But.
Yeah, look, I mean, the beginning party, there was that very minor one with, you know, the Axis powers and all that. But you know what? That's very minor compared to the rest. And I do like this American man, like, character. So before he was Stupid Duck, well, he was the American Duck, apparently. So in revisiting Tashlin, I guess it's such a chore, right? I love Tashlin's 1940s output, even if not all of them are 100% perfect, but they're all top-notch in their own way, and this one's no exception. This one is a beautiful, hilarious, and well-directed short, and it's one of Tashlin's finest of this period, and overall, for that matter, in my opinion. So the title itself, it's a play on the term slap happy. So it's interesting that there was actually a short called Slap Happy Pappy that had Porky in it, and that actually was directed by Bob Clampett. And the photo that was used for this title card, Scrap Happy Daffy, that was also what Bob Clampett was doing it with a few of his title cards. So just an interesting little coincidence there, but yeah, that's where that term comes from. But I also wanted to put this short into further context, which I didn't do in the original commentary track, because some people may not know this. During World War II, there was a massive drive for people to donate any scrap metal towards the war effort. Certain appliances that had metal in them were temporarily banned, and at one point even canned foods were rationed due to the tin that's used to make those cans. So there was this massive patriotic effort to donate scrap metal, which could be then smelted into things useful for the war, ranging from heavy machinery like tanks all the way down to bullets and pots, pans, whatever's needed for the war effort. So this short plays this idea to the extreme, of course, but it plays on the idea that the scrap metal drive is going so well that even Hitler's taking notice at the fact that the war is beginning to turn against him. And if you want to know what sort of things that people could donate at the time, you just have to listen to Daffy's song roughly in the middle of it, which is absolutely hilarious.
Pots, pans, old tin cans, pails, nails, empty gales, fats, hats, rubber mats, missing links, kitchen sinks, garbage cans, electric fans, rubber boots, bathing suits, reels, wheels, run-down heels, beds, springs, piston rings, metal shears, old tin ears, tires, chains, water mains, skates, plates, furnace grates, pitching forks, rubber corks, sacks, racks, railroad tracks, clothes, hose, fiddle bows, plugs, lugs, bathroom rugs, collar keys, housemaid knees, rubber bands, birdcage stands, metal snips, pillow slips, locks, socks, grandpa clocks. And that's why we're in to win.
But let's take a look at the short on a few things that were missed and a few other things I've noticed since rewatching it, because again, it's such a chore revisiting these Tashlins, unlike me revisiting those Buddy shorts, but anyway, that's another thing entirely. So we start off with this nice little pan of all sorts of slogans, which would have been the types of things that people would have seen encouraging them to donate to the scrap metal drive. Donate your metal and we will win the war, that kind of thing. But I like the last one, which leads to that little pun, get that lead out. And that comes from a saying, get the lead out of one's shoes or pants. And since lead is heavy, it basically means you remove that and it can make you move faster. So there's that. So we see this massive scrap metal tower, which Daffy seems to be climbing like an alpine climber, and he's even yodeling to that effect as well. I don't see how it's safe to have such a massive tower like that, but anyway, it leads to some wonderful looking backgrounds at the very least. I believe that's done by Dave Hilberman. I think he's still around for one or two more shorts before he ends up going elsewhere. Then we hear Daffy singing We're In to Win, but it's all with substitute lyrics, and it's all based around the scrap metal drive, and even includes references to donate rubber tires and that sort of stuff, because rubber tires were also being collected and reused and all that. We then see caricatures of Mussolini, Hitler, Hideki Chojo, so the Axis powers, and it's all done nicely within the context of the song, which is fantastic, and probably the only objectionable looking part when it comes to stereotypes, but at the time America was fighting the good fight, so this was seen as acceptable, so it is what it is. But boy, is this opening song wild, and you get to hear it once I play the short for you at the very end. Such a wonderful opening to, again, such a wonderful cartoon, and it sets things up rather nicely. And we then get that pan that I mentioned earlier before, pardon the pun, I know pan, metal pan, yeah, okay, sorry. I had to mention that, but we see all the types of things that you were able to donate as part of the scrap drive, and what Tashlin short is there without a reference to a beautiful woman at some point? Well, there you are. Later on in Tashlin's live-action directing career, when he did all those Jerry Lewis films and otherwise, there'd be all sorts of beautiful women in them, so it seems to be a bit of a thing for him. Now, how's this for obscure? I actually didn't know this. I was looking into it because I was wondering what Daffy was saying in this part. So he would mention Schicklgruber. I'll probably butcher that. I don't speak German. But anyway, that is actually the birth name of Hitler's father. Appropriately enough, we end with a shot of a horse's ass. And we even hear the music cue. You're a horse's ass. Very appropriate. And it dissolves into Hitler's face, because what else is it going to do? So we see that Hitler's not happy, he's yelling, screaming, and we see that the subtitles are actually not Aryan Duck. I wonder if that's a hint if he thinks Daffy's Jewish. I don't know, could be, but anyway. So that newspaper headline is hilarious. It's clearly there just to drive the story forward, but just so ridiculous. Why would Daffy's scrap heap be featured in major international news? It's absurd, but whatever. It is what it is. It's actually even funnier if you think about it further. But by this point, Mussolini was defeated in Italy, and the newspaper seems to refer to that, but the production for this cartoon would have started in late 42, so I wonder if this was just a quick replacement at the last moment because Mussolini was defeated, or if it was just wishful thinking when they made this short. Be interesting to know, but it's good timing nonetheless, because Mussolini at the time in Italy had been defeated, and now, as the newspaper says, they've got the sights set on Hitler. At least on that part of the world. They still had major goings on in the other side against the Japanese. And every time I hear Mel Blanc's Hitler voice, it just cracks me up. And again, the idea of a Jew doing a Hitler's voice is even more funnier, but he does it so well. I still think that Clampett's version is the best, but here, it's fantastic. Then we see he starts chewing on the carpet, which on the surface you think is just some sort of random gag, and it's funny on its own without knowing the context, but apparently, according to some sources, some disputed this, but whatever, this is where it comes from anyway. Apparently Hitler at the time would get so enraged that he would start chewing on a rug nearby, so this is what it looks like it's referencing to. And then we get a beautiful sequence of quick cuts similar to what Tashlin did in the 30s, where a shot would only last maybe a few seconds, and if you think about it, these weren't the highest budgeted shorts, so how Tashlin was able to pull this off, I'll never know. It's just incredible. So we see the army general with the overuse of awards, which is funny in itself, and each shot is pretty funny. It's like gag up the gag up the gag. It just keeps piling on, and it's at great speed, including my favorite bit, which rewatching it now made me laugh even more for some reason, but there was that little bit with the guy, he goes on a scooter for what, not even a second, and he falls off and walks inside. I don't know, that cracked me up even more this time around. So we then get, the transmissions out to the U-boat saying, we've got to destroy that scrap metal tower, and for some reason they've got a weapon specifically built for that purpose, which is hilarious. And all that build-up, and that's why this is brilliant, all that build-up, just for a goat. And one goat as well. So this is some goat. I don't think even goat could destroy all that metal, but anyway, it makes for a ridiculous setup, but anyway. And the animation of this goat is fantastic, especially after he eats some of those cans and he's walking about, the cans are bouncing around, and then he starts having a bit of an upset tummy and hiccuping. So Daffy then builds a foxhole, and I love how it says private foxhole, because, foxholes are supposed to have a few people in there to stay off target against the enemy and be able to attack and all that stuff, so kind of weird, but anyway. And Daffy says, mice? Hears a bigger noise, and he then thinks it's a moose for some reason, which again is bizarre. But another detail I noticed here is that you initially think it's like a stick with the helmet, and that's one good way to gauge if there's an enemy around, because they might start shooting at the helmet rather than your head. But no, it's actually Daffy's head inside. Hilarious. But anyway, I don't know, some of these shorts I'll rewatch and then I'll notice something I never saw before or never really paid attention to, which is always a great thing. You always find something new. And one of my favorite bits of the short, he looks around, he sees a pair of eyes, he's just telling it off, calling him a loser, more or less, and sure enough, he sees that it's his reflection when he says, nincompoop. And this is not the last time this gag would happen. Art Davis would actually do a similar gag when he starts directing shorts later on. So then Daffy realizes it's a billy goat, and he even calls him William. Billy short for William, in case you were wondering. If you were going, why is he calling William? But that's the reason why. So he offers him an Alka-Seltzer, which the product was actually reasonably new at the time. It actually came into the market about 1931. So it would have been about 12 years old. And if you look at all the old advertisements of the time, it was pretty much, after you have your party, have an Alka-Seltzer. So you can pretty much guess what it's there for, to help get over your hangover, pretty much. But it's useful for other things. It's a genuinely great product. Not that I use it all the time or anything, but it's definitely helpful. And then we see the billy goat just doing this massive run, aggressive run, and then he has to stop for some reason, and he's just skidding. And most other directors would have probably stopped it there, but Tashlin let it continue on and on and on for that bit longer than usual, just to make it as extreme as possible without going over long, if that makes sense. And he ends up seeing Daffy with glasses, and we get a rule of 3, which you wouldn't expect here. So you got Daffy with the glasses initially, you wouldn't hear the guy with the glasses. The goat goes around to his behind, glasses are there too, pokes the goat out. And you'd think it would end there, but then the goat gets angry, and then it leads to the most absurd rule of 3 thing I've ever seen. Daffy made out of glasses. Perfect. Absolutely love that. Such a great way to end that. And here, Daffy ends up getting initially defeated, so he hits the goat on the head with a hammer. The goat seemingly wins, and Daffy says, what I would give for a can of spinach right now, referring to Popeye, who would by this point have spinach and then go into a superpowered rampage towards the end, doing whatever he needs to do to save the day. And weirdly enough, by the end of this short, Daffy pretty much becomes like a Popeye figure anyway, but without the spinach. Because he's an American, that's why. So he then sees all his ancestors, I think Dillingham or Billingham duck. I couldn't quite make that out, so if you can let me know what the name is, that'll be fantastic. Could be my hearing, I don't know. And we get all this patriotism starting with to the tune of Yankee Doodle. So did we give up at Plymouth Rock? And you see George Washington duck, we see Daniel Boone duck, they're all ducks for some reason, even though Hitler's a human and all that, but whatever, you just go with it. And John Paul Jones, with the wonderful added touch of the cloud ship wheel, Abraham Lincoln, we just got nothing but patriotism, and upon reflection on the original commentary, yes, this is how you do the Patriot type short, as opposed to Tokyo Jokyo, which was just really mean-spirited, just poorly done, aside from some nice bits of animation. And then we get a parody to the intro of the Fleischer Superman series, which would have finished about now. They would have done a few more and then the series would have ended. They didn't do too many because of the costs involved, and there just wasn't that much interest anyway by the directors in really wanting to do that series, even though it's ingrained in pop culture history. So there you are. So the whole up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, and yeah, we see that it's super American, and the reaction to the go to Super American is absolutely priceless. And then, yeah, we see Super American act like Popeye on spinach. He basically knocks back all the bullets to the U-boat, and it turns out it's all a dream. Or is it? Kind of weird ending, but anyway. Look, this one is another one of Frank Tashlin's masterpieces. Not my favorite, but as far as wartime shorts go, this one is an absolute classic, and I would put it up there as one of the best wartime shorts ever made. This one gets a 9 out of 10. It's entertaining, well animated, well written, hilarious gags. Well, like I said, one of Tashlin's finest, but you can judge for yourself. I'm going to play the short for you right now. So that's it for the review. Until next time, guys, take care.
We're in to win, so let's begin to do the job with junk. We're in to win, turn in your tin and listen to it drunk. To our nation's call, every rubber ball goes to conquer freedom's foe. Freedom's foe. Freedom's a foe. Oh, freedom's foe. We're in to win, our staff is in, so to victory, let's go. And do the job with junk. Pots, pans, old tin cans, pails, nails, empty gales, fats, hats, rubber mats, missing links, kitchen sinks, garbage cans, electric fans, rubber boots, bathing suits, reels, wheels, run-down heels, beds, springs, piston rings, metal shears, old tin ears. Tires, chains, water mains, skates, plates, furnace rates, pitching forks, rubber corks, sacks, racks, railroad tracks, clothes, hose, fiddle bows, plugs, lugs, bathroom rugs, cotter keys, housemaid needs, rubber bands, birdcage heads, metal snips, pillow slips, locks, locks, grandpa clocks. And that's why we're in to win. Well, how do you like that, sickle groover? Destroy that scrap pile! 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 Destroy! 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 That scrap pile! dinosaurs, I betcha. I thought so. Put your hands up. You criminals are all alike. I can see it in your eyes. Just a stupid ignoramus, a numbskull, a nitwit, a nincompoop. Why, it's just a poor little sick billy goat. Hey, William, this'll fix you up. A sodium acetyl salicylate. Listen to it fizz. Provides immediate relief from hypergasidity, banishes after-dinner discomfort and loginess. Say, this tin termite is a Nazi, a folk wolf in sheep's clothing. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? I'm through. Oh, what I'd give for a can of spinach now.
Shame, Daffy. Shame.
Creak, 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 Uncle Dillingham duck. Did I cry spinach when I stood a duck on Plymouth Rock? Did I in Washington give up with Ellie Hawk? Did Daniel Boone and me quack quits when Injun shaved our scalp? Did John Paul Duck give up the ship or ever holler help? Hey, Daffy, Americans don't give up. No, Daffy, Americans don't give up. That's right. And I'm an American duck. Up there in the sky, it's a bird. No, it's a plane. No, it's Super American. Gosh, a dream. It was all a dream.
Hey! Next time you